Nigerians are upset right now. They are hungry right now. In fact, when Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president, said he was going to wear the shoes, he is going to step in the shoes and walk the walk of past President Major General Muhammadu Buhari. A lot of Nigerians thought he was simply trying to assuage or try to just make the president, past president, feel better, feel good. So he could get what he wants. That is what a lot of Nigerians thought. But right now, Nigerians are not happy. They are not comfortable. As regards this palliative that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is talking about, according to him, he said Nigerians should give him time, that he needs to help them arrange the economy and put things right. These are what he is saying. But Nigerians say, no, you want to put us more into much debt and hardship will increase. You want to put us into much more deeper hole than the previous government. Now, I don't know what your own thoughts are as regards this, depending on how you see, depending on the angle that you are looking at it, depending on how vast you are when it comes to microeconomics and in general, the economy, GDP of a nation and how things work. You all know that majority of African nations are borrowing money from China in a way that is not healthy. And you also know that China and many other countries, people borrow money from each other. Is the same way government, countries borrow money. In fact, the United States borrowed from China. China will borrow from this. It's just the way it works. But then, what are the ways? What are the policies that have been put in place? What are the avenues that this money that have been borrowed or that are being borrowed will be paid back? Are you going to invest money, or you are going to put that money in what will not bring back any return? These are the concerns. Is Bola Ahmed Tinubu working towards this, or is just going to continue like the past president? These are the questions on the minds of a lot of people. People are not happy. When Bola Ahmed Tinubu announced the removal of subsidy from petroleum products, Nigerians panicked. People got angry and sad. In fact, prior to this, the change of naira notes coupled with Bola Ahmed Tinubu coming in and announcing this, it's like a double kind of blow to a lot of people that they could not or they cannot recover from, and they are still struggling with. Now, palliative is to ease the economy and to make life better. Is Bola Ahmed Tinubu applying the best of the best into what he is doing, or there is something sinister, something bad that is about to happen? I want you to stay put from the beginning of this video to the end of it, as you're about to hear some very explosive and deep things. But before we proceed, I want you to like and share this video. I want you to subscribe to this channel if you have not done so. Let's get right into it.
Some promises that Nigerians paint, he understand them, but the Nigerians need to be patient with him as he comes up with ideas on how to, relieve the pains of Nigerians. But let's get an insight and perspectives on this one. I'm being joined by a former presidential candidate and an economist, Mr. Tope Fasua. Thank you so much, Dr. Fasua, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. You look at it. You and I, you've been on this program and we spoke about policies of this government. You agree that subsidy must go. But the fact a lot of people are criticizing is the plans to cushion the effect. Now, the president is now talking about the plans to cushion what? The people are already having the pinch already. But give us an insight. Is this a loan? Where is this money coming from? This is coming from 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Act budget. What is this all about? Is the money floating somewhere? Is it in our purse? Is it kept in one bank? You are the expert. Give us an insight.
Okay, thank you very much. But as you heard, nowhere was loan mentioned. I've already seen online people suggesting, oh, they are going to take loans and all of that stuff. This is like sort of a variant from the supplementary budget of 800 billion plus, which President Buhari got against the 2022 budget itself.
A supplementary.
Yeah, supplementary to the 2022. So nobody's talking about the 2023 budget now. Just 2022 budget. That bill actually went in somewhere in December 2022 to say that, look, because of the flooding that happened in 2022, there was need to spend some monies and so on. So what we're doing now is to say that, look, the flooding is an issue, but now there's a general problem which needs to be attacked. The government
so the funds were at the time was 816 billion.
Exactly.
So the
taking 500
Tinubu is now wants 500 billion
out of that, and that's I mean, I think we have some financial geniuses in government, already, and that's a good move because we're not talking about. I mean, you see, when you're running a government, you must think of everything. You must think of everywhere you can get money. So this is one place that can get money. It's not about borrowing new funds. Remember that Nigeria, as an entity, as a country, every day we're making money. We're making money, ships are berthing, we're making money in MPA, in Masa, in FAN, we're making money everywhere, in customs, people are clearing goods. So it's an ongoing thing. At the end of the month, they come together, they say, okay, this is how much has they made, how do we share it and all of that. So but I think Nigerians should be happy that at least now we're moving on the issue of palliatives and reliefs for the people, having taken the very hard decisions that the government has taken.
So in my mind, and I don't know, and we need to hear from government what their plans and a global. We Nigerians need to be giving an information on what the global plan is. Now,
Indeed.
the 800 million US dollars, that money from the World Bank, you have to spend it from,
have you taken
for
it?
what? No,
have you taken it in
the money has been approved. World Bank has come to Nigeria. It has not been disbursed.
Yeah, so
the premise, just a moment, the premise I'm saying is, from what I know about the World Bank, if they ask you to buy something with the money they are giving you, you must stick with what they want you to.
Absolutely.
So that money, they've stipulated what that money is going to be meant for. But I have a feeling, and you need to give us an insight, an expert opinion on this, that the 500 billion is what the president thinks he wants to spend the money on, other than what the World Bank 800 million US dollar is for.
Well,
do you think so?
No. You cannot actually tell the mind of government for now, given the fact that it's an emerging story. So a lot of things are going to be clarified in a few days. The $800 million that was being worked on, and which, in fact, the World Bank said they had started working on this since 2021 or sometime that far, has been approved, perhaps not disbursed. And, it doesn't mean that by all means we must take that money. If the new government says that, look, we don't believe in the purpose of this money, for example, that money is actually meant to be shared to people.
There are some lawyers,
in cash.
Like Mr. Falana said,
yes,
that money cannot be a loan. It has to be a grant.
Indeed, but,
so that controversy
but it is a loan. Indeed, I think it's a loan. Initially, we thought it was a grant. Yeah,
but based on our laws and the body of our laws, it says Nigeria cannot get a loan for that kind of purpose.
Which it shares to people. Invariably, but in international finance, you also have to be careful. The point is, if you look at the hierarchy in international finance, the way they've done it is that organizations like World Bank, IMF, they get paid first. And it doesn't matter what they call the kind of money, if you have to pay back at some point in time, it's a loan. So I don't think that the present government believes in giving out cash handouts, except in very rare cases. And of course, you have to safeguard that to ensure that it actually goes into the right hands. We had some very bad experiences around COVID time when monies were disbursed in that manner. So I don't also believe that this 500 billion is going to be spent in that way, because I think we have a bit more deeper thinking in government now than what we used to have. And perhaps I could second guess them that perhaps there's a need to spend on transport infrastructure now. To reduce the cost of transportation for many people. There's a need to begin to target where the inflation is coming from. For example, helping the farmers in order to reduce inflation. Okay, there's a need perhaps for them to begin to prepare for paying maybe higher salaries for the civil servants. So there are many ways you can spend that money, all right? Not necessarily just saying, oh, we've given the money out to some people. If you give money out, that's inflationary money.
Let me for example,
and increase inflation all the same.
Let's tickle the fancy of our viewers tonight, especially those who are government workers. And there are suggestions as to people are already suggesting the figure, the minimum wage should be raised to from the 30,000. So you imagine, for example, the wage bill of government will go up. Yeah. Should there be a jack in the minimum wage? Yeah. So this could be, this 500 billion could be also a package. Should it? I mean, that could be a low-hanging fruit, isn't it? Money directly into the hands of people.
Well, you got to be very careful about
that. Their purchasing power has dropped.
Absolutely, indeed, yes. But you have to be very careful about that. How high do you want to go? Remember that, number one, you still have to think about whether the private sector can catch up with it. Because whatever you're doing in the public sector must be replicated in the private sector. I don't want people to sack staff and all of that. So how do they cope? What about the informal sector in general? How do they? So if you give money, it's been done before. You give money to a public servant, they rush to the market to buy things, prices go up, and other people begin to suffer. So I would, yes, it seems like there has to be an increase in wages across the board, even in the private sector where I operate. Or even now, I've increased my staff salary already without, because it's just we see what's going on in the country, and of course you must do the needful. So, but again, I wanted to say that this 500 billion is just the beginning. This is the government of renewed hope. Okay, it's just a case of, okay, listen, there's a 800 billion there. Can we claw it back while we're thinking of other things? And of course, I believe, look, and if you look at the savings the government is going to make, the government is going to be getting considerably more money as a result of the floating of the naira. More naira is going to come in for every dollar income that comes in for government. And of course, again, in terms of, apart from the floating of the naira, even in terms of the deregulation of the sector, of the petroleum sector, there's considerably amount of money.
Now, somehow it appears that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is applying the right approach to what should be done to make sure that the economy is balanced and things are improved, and Nigerians are able to, live life, at least manage before things get better. This government right now, they are not dwelling on the past. They are not saying that PDP of Obasanjo, Yaradua, and also that of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan destroyed the economy, they looted, they did this and that. Neither will they be comfortable to say that the past administration, APC, which is still the ruling party, did this and did that. Of course, we are seeing actions of the president in certain areas and of the economy, and we are seeing certain people that have been laid off. We are seeing, in quote, the renewed hope. We are seeing certain things that the president has started at this time. But then, we cannot hide and pretend that the economy of Nigeria, the resources of Nigeria, has been looted. In fact, there is nothing anyone else wants to say about it. Not to talk about the monies that is being asked by certain individuals to come and talk about, come and discuss it. These billions, these millions of dollars that your ancestor, late Abacha, has been returning for a long time. Just imagine if those countries are like Nigeria. I mean, when I say Nigeria, I'm not saying Nigerians, like some of those criminal politicians. Will they have said, look, some of your money or monies are here in our coffers? Of course, they probably got their own interest and probably got some money cornered for themselves. I am not sure about that. But they said, come and take. That does not mean that certain individuals in Nigeria do not know about this money. But where did this money go into? What actually happened? Are we still going to continue in a system where senators, criminals who are getting pension, some of them as past governors, ex-governors, who are getting huge amount of pension, and of course they've settled themselves, are we still going to continue in that system where money will be borrowed from China, from here and there, to pay salaries of senators, legislators? Are we going to continue that? Let us hear more.
So for those of us who are not very, we're not economy and finance, we don't have so much knowledge like yourself. Where is this money? Was it hanging somewhere? Is it being kept somewhere?
No, like I said,
the 800 billion is the money.
Like I said, no. So it's a case of, listen, if you set a budget for this year, for example, and you say, okay, you know what, I want to spend 10 billion this year, but I need, at the end of the year, you say, listen, I need 500 billion more for this same year that I need to spend. Okay, so there's a budget, there's a financing aspect of the budget, that this is how we're going to finance the budget. Arrangements to be made in time as to where to get the monies from. So that extra budget has been provided for. So it's a case of, and again, like I said earlier on, Nigerian government makes money every day.
So we need to also,
yes, so
and I wanted you to explain that, because our viewers need to also understand that you cannot spend government money without appropriation.
Absolutely.
Appropriation is a process,
exactly.
to say an approval process.
Absolutely.
That every kobo that is spent, so there is an approval, is a window of approval that has not been spent and used.
Exactly.
And the possibility of government being able to use it.
Absolutely.
Since there's a 2023,
the budget. Repurposing, basically. And you could see from the letter that was read, that this government intends to do things the right way. We've seen in the past, sometimes when government gets arrogant, they spend whatever. Later you'll be hearing, oh, they spend this much. For example, all of the things that went on with central bank and so on. But this government is trying to say, listen, according to the law, and you could hear that in the body of the letter, that we are not going to spend this except we tell you that we're not going to even repurpose this amount except we get approval from you. That's
I'm
exactly
just imagining that President Tinubu will come out on a day to announce palliative plan for the nation, a comprehensive palliative plan. Because some states, I think that it has to be a robust.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking
don't even call it palliative, really. I don't like the word palliative because it sounds like a plaster on a wound. You know what I'm saying?
There's a wound, isn't it?
We need a proper treatment for that wound. So, before you just put a plaster on a wound, you're going to treat, you're going to clean that wound and all of that before, and then you're going to say, okay, when are we removing this plaster? And so on. Before we, so invariably, I would want, things like reliefs in the immediate term, but a much more comprehensive idea will be sold as to where this economy is going to, essentially harking back to campaign promises, how much growth rate you want in the economy, how many employments do you want to create in the economy. We can even decide to have a job focus. Okay, I mentioned inflation management earlier on to say we can't just keep talking about interest rates. It's not working. To increase the interest rate and keep increasing interest rate, it seems not to be working. There are other ways also to assist you in managing inflation. But I think what needs to be also looked at now is to have a job focus, to target what they call in economics, full employment. To say, okay, listen, how can we reduce this 33% unemployment to something much more reasonable?
Welcome back. Well, as you can see, it seems we have very much great minds in Nigeria, and we have many other people out there in diaspora who are Nigerians who are ready to offer their expertise, their experience, and all of that to make sure that things function and work as it should. But with all of this intelligence and whatever it is, with all of this, without properly enforcing, I mean, we need to have integrity. Without all of this, every of these things will fall into shambles. That's the truth. That is the reality of it all. It will fall into shambles. You need discipline. You need integrity. You need policies that will make sure and ensure. Because you might even say, let us get someone, let us get this and that. Let us combine minds and ideas. At the end of the day, you will have excellent, great, beautiful minds that are tainted. I mean, criminals. And when you meet intelligent people who are criminals, it's a big problem. It's a big problem. That is one of the problems that we have in Nigeria, amongst many other things that we've been facing. So as you see, there are solutions that have been proffered, examples have been highlighted. How do we get out of this? What about the unemployment? What about making those who are unemployed, I'm talking about that quarter, because we do not even have that reliable database to ascertain, to know the unskilled, the skilled, those who have certificates but without anything to offer. The educational system and a lot of things need to be looked into so that we can have productive people, not just I went to higher institution, I did this and that, but you have nothing to offer when you are placed in a job environment. You have nothing to offer. You are just redundant. You are just there. A lot of things needs to be looked into, and I believe that many people who are around Bola Ahmed Tinubu are intelligent enough. I'm sure that he won't want to fail. He has bragged that he is a city boy, is this, is that, and he has said a lot of things, and I think he will want to live up to his expectation. I don't know what your thoughts are as regards to this one, regardless of politics, regardless of whatever it is. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is kind of making efforts towards certain things right now. Drop your comment, like and share, subscribe to this channel. See you in the next update.